So, let's talk about the characters. And yeah, just like I did with the Cuphead bosses, I'll also do a tier list for all the Invincible characters. So, let's start with Mark/Invincible. To me, he's a pretty basic protagonist character. He cares about his loved ones, is very kind, a little socially awkward, and wants to help as many people as he can. At the start, he's your typical high school 17-year-old, and once he gets his powers, as expected, he's very headstrong and naive about it at first. He throws himself into any problem or threat he comes across. And what I really like about his experience as a superhero is that he gets beat up and injured in so many of these fights. It helps ground his character and his plot armor, because he doesn't feel invincible at all, no pun intended. And yeah, he straight up almost dies in multiple of his fights. I also think the way he carries himself as a superhero, being a little humorous and easy with it, is pretty nice. And he very clearly struggles a lot with balancing his personal life and his duties as a superhero, which Nolan also talks to him about. However, one thing I really do not like about him is his immediate apathy towards being a superhero after getting dumped by Amber. In that one conversation with Eve, I really did not understand his arguments at all.
Forget it. I'm done with all that. So are you.
I came out here because I needed to start over, but that doesn't mean ignoring the world when it needs me.
The world was fine before I came along. It'll be fine without my help. Better, probably.
I get that you're feeling shitty because Amber dumped you, but trust me, you'll feel worse if you sit here and do nothing when you could save lives.
It even felt a bit out of character to me, because he does a lot of good as a hero. Even though he gets beat up, he clearly sees the fruits of his actions. So why does he suddenly not want to do any of that and just quit? Dude, I get you're upset about Amber, but this mindset is just out of character for you. During this temporary phase of him, both William and Eve have a way more rational approach to a situation than he does. And after a few moments, he's back again trying to save people. So why even have this entire hassle about not wanting to be a hero anymore when he just quickly goes back to being a hero again? Besides that, however, I don't have any issues with his character per se, especially when looking at his growth throughout these 8 episodes, after the whole traumatic thing with Nolan. Looking at the state his character is in at the end of the season, I'm very optimistic on what's to come next, and how he will keep developing and growing in future seasons. Mark, he's an A-tier character. So, now getting to Debbie, Mark's mom. I really like her. She's a pretty great mom. Every interaction she has with Mark is really great. And although I'm not a fan of the dialogue writing in many scenes, the things she says and the way she carries herself is just very likable and admirable in my eyes. My favorite moments of her is the one in the first episode at night, where she tells Mark to stop training and come inside. He refuses and says, "Make me," and she responds with, "Does that make you feel strong? To know I can't physically make you do something?"
Get inside right now.
Make me.
Does that make you feel strong? To know I can't physically make you do something? Is that what you need?
Pretty great answer. There's also the time where she encourages Mark to go on that Mars mission, because it's great to keep people safe, and that many people will tell him how to use his powers, but that at the end, it's his decision to make, and that he needs to decide what kind of hero he wants to be.
Sweetheart, lots of people are going to tell you how to use your powers, but it's up to you to make these decisions. You need to decide what kind of hero you want to be.
Which is just a great message and a very healthy mindset for a parent to have. It's also totally in contrast with Nolan, who always tells Mark that he needs to focus on bigger things and that such little issues are beneath him.
I gotta run, Dad.
Hey, whatever that is, your training is more important. Big picture, right?
And the one time at the dinner table, where she goes against Nolan's opinion on helping the community with defeating Machine Head. She tells Mark that helping someone is never beneath him.
You're a Viltrumite, okay? You fought off an alien invasion, saved the country from an asteroid. This is beneath you.
But I also know that helping someone is never beneath you.
Again, reinforcing the ideal of using his powers to help as many people as he can. In fact, in many aspects, she does remind me a lot of Aunt May in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Look around you. This is what we do. We help people.
And even aside from her virtuous personality, the mental suffering she experiences, which keeps growing with each episode, adds another layer to her character that I really enjoy. Debbie goes through her own small arc concerning her acknowledgement of the true dark side of her husband, and it's pretty great. Every time the show cuts to her, I was immediately invested, and I think most people can really empathize with her.
This is all going so quickly. I didn't think it'd be this difficult.
Mom! I'm gonna order something for dinner. Want to get a pizza?
All around, she's a very nice piece of the series. And even though she doesn't have a huge impact on the plot overall, she for sure makes the dynamic between Mark and Nolan much more emotionally resonant. She's an A-tier character as well. Now we get to Nolan / Omni-Man. Well, he's the best character in the entire show. And this mainly stems from his mysterious nature and the fact that he is a cold, brutal creature of destruction. But on the other side, the time he spent on Earth softened him for things like love, affection, and empathy. Even though it's only a small spark, I mean, he spent the vast majority of his life under his own people, who strongly conditioned him into the person we come to see in this season.
Remember, you're not just a superhero, Mark. You're a Viltrumite. We have responsibilities that normal humans don't. And now, we need to get Earth ready to join the Viltrum Empire.
But what I really appreciate is that just these couple of decades on Earth and the personal time he spent with Debbie and Mark opened a very different, more compassionate and kind part of him.
I'm sorry. Mark got his powers so late, I wasn't prepared for this. I can't help but think maybe our lives would be better if he hadn't gotten them at all. I never thought I would have a family. And then you came along. And I love you. And Mark. So much. But when I see Mark with his powers, and after what happened to the Guardians, I'm terrified I could lose everything.
I think some people really overhype the complexity of his character though. Don't get me wrong, I do really like him, but he's not super well written. He's a three-dimensional character who feels conflicted between his duty and the affection he developed towards his family. He's really not all that complex. He firmly believes that the Viltrum Empire is designed to become the absolute force of the universe, and whenever Mark is considering to help people or go on a mission, Nolan always tells him that, as a Viltrumite, such things are beneath him.
Living up to our people's heritage. It takes sacrifice, Mark. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Your responsibilities are bigger than 4 astronauts.
Oh, crap. I gotta run, Dad.
Hey, whatever that is, your training is more important. Big picture, right? Even if that was true, you're a Viltrumite. Okay? You fought off an alien invasion, saved the country from an asteroid. This is beneath you.
And we've got the whole berserker element to his personality, where he becomes this completely apathetic, savage, and merciless killing machine, which gives us some of the best scenes in the entire show. And J.K. Simmons' performance as Nolan is also great. I don't have anything else to say honestly, he's a pretty damn good character. Plus, his design is very iconic and just awesome. I really love his mustache, and actually, the first time I saw a picture of him, without having seen the show or even heard of the show, I thought, oh, so this is a superhero version of J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man, right? Not kidding, that was actually what I thought. So yeah, anyway, Omni-Man, S tier. Adam Eve, she's pretty cool I think. The only thing I really have no idea about is why the hell she was dating Rex for so freaking long. Seeing how reasonable and confident she is, I'm very puzzled by their relationship. However, aside from that, I think she's a great person. She serves her role in the teen team pretty well, and if I understand her powers correctly, she's pretty freaking OP. Almost like a watered down version of Doctor Strange. And soon, she grows disliking the regular way of being a superhero in this world, so she decides to drop her old superhero identity and start helping people independently, which is awesome. Throughout the season, all her conversations make Eve seem like a very reasonable and intelligent person, besides that thing with Rex. And I think overall, they did a pretty good job at giving her her own small arc, going against the status quo and doing that whole superhero thing on her own way, which is great. I like the fact that she decides to do things her own way.
I think I can help more people by just helping them, you know? I don't have to wait for some alien invasion or the lizard league's next attack. I can irrigate deserts, stop natural disasters, bring food to the starving, you know, make a real difference.
Now you're this.
I'm still Adam Eve, and I've saved more lives in the last 3 days than I did in the last 3 years.
Sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
And trust me, being out here is an upgrade to living with my parents. I should call my mom, though.
In the plot, she mainly functions as Mark's introduction into being a superhero, and also sometimes as a general voice of reason, like in episode 7 for example. The only exception being that she tells Mark that he was an asshole to Amber, which is just straight up wrong.
You're the one who told me not to tell Amber I was invincible.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you to string her along for 5 months while being an asshole about it. Thought you'd figure that part out yourself.
Oh my.
And aside from rejecting her parents and her previous way of handling things, there's not a whole lot of stuff for her to do in this season, which is totally fine, because she's just a supporting character. But given what we've seen of her so far, she's not that deep of a character just yet. So I'm putting her in B tier right now, mainly because of the connections and relationships she has, and the stuff she's dealing with in her own story just doesn't hit the same heights as the other stuff, I think. Her design is pretty cool though. William. William is alright. He's a bit funny, his interactions with most other characters are pretty entertaining, though I don't think of him as a comedic character. I'd say that he has a very distinct personality, which makes the scenes that he's in just a bit more interesting to watch.
Sure, he's hot and all. And that mustache. Sorry, okay. Straight stuff. Both ways, Mark. You need to look both ways before you cross the street. Did you skip kindergarten the day they taught that? Classic alpha male. Hey! Don't say those compliments to him.
It's nothing major, just a tiny thing to appreciate. He's also not your generic best friend of the superhero, so yeah, that's also something. That's the only positive thing I can really say about his character, because he's not all that relevant in the story besides episode 6, which also is the worst episode of the entire season. And just like Eve, he thinks that Mark was a terrible boyfriend to Amber.
But you were a terrible boyfriend to Amber and you got what you deserved. Sorry, not sorry.
Which again is just false.
I love you, man, but I need someone else to talk to.
His entire relationship with Rick also wasn't that engaging, although we do see that even if he's physically very weak, he's got a lot of courage. For example, when he distracts the cyborg soldier from killing Rick.
Get away from him, you bastard!
And when he goes into the dark sewers just to look for him, even though it's clearly very dangerous down there. I like him, but he doesn't really develop as a character in any way.
Rick! Are you there? Rick!
The story also doesn't require that, but this makes him one of the lesser developed characters. I'm putting him in... C tier. Now we get to the most controversial character in the entire show, Amber. And to be honest, I don't think she's that terrible. Overall, she's just a very selfless, virtuous and respectable person. She's confident, stands up for herself and Mark against that douche in school.
Leave him alone!
What are you looking at?
And she helps to feed the homeless, knows every one of their names and so on. She's a pretty great person overall.
What were you doing there?
Helping build schools. It was one of those group volunteer things. It felt so good. And it just made me realize that we're in a total bubble that keeps us from seeing what the world's actually like.
However, there is one very big issue with her character. Her reaction to Mark telling her about his superhero identity. This is completely irrational on her part. The only reason she dumps him is because he didn't tell her about his secret identity for many months.
Then why are we fighting?
We're fighting because you lied to me. You made me feel stupid and unimportant.
It's a secret identity.
And because you don't trust me.
I'm trusting you now.
Oh my god. I mean, it's cute you think that's enough.
But, Amber.
But first of all, he was still spending time with her and made many obvious signs that he's serious about their relationship.
This is what I want. You and me here, together.
Okay.
Really?
Sure, why not?
Amber knows that Mark loves her, and she also does, I'd assume. So why on earth is she so upset about him always lying to her when it came to his superhero identity? Unlike most people, I can kind of get behind Amber's thought process, or at least I can understand why she would feel frustrated that Mark doesn't tell her. It's partially about trust, but I think it's also annoyance. Think about it. If your partner was hiding something from you that you already knew for many weeks, but every time you both spend time together, your partner just keeps finding excuses not to talk about it and keeps lying to you, of course you would feel a bit betrayed. If you were to look at it in a vacuum, Amber's reaction does make sense, but how she decides to act on that annoyance is just a bit much. Considering how well their relationship went so far, and the fact that Mark tries his best to help people and also spend time with her, I really do not understand her decision to dump him right here. From all we know about her, she's a very intelligent and reasonable person, so she should be aware of Mark's commitment to their relationship. But no, I guess she just can't deal with a liar, no matter the circumstances. She also doesn't undergo any significant character development, which I don't have a huge problem with, but I think when she took him back, she should have apologized to Mark for being so stubborn. If it wasn't for that weird reaction to Mark telling her that he's invincible, she would be a B, maybe even an A tier character. But unfortunately, she's a C tier character. It's truly a bummer, because before their breakup, I really liked her, and very much enjoyed all the scenes they had together. And I still like her. Who knows? Maybe she'll be a much better character in the next season. I'm pretty sure she will be. It would be strange if the writers mess her up like that again. Cecil. Cecil's awesome, man. I love his always serious and a bit tired demeanor. His voice actor is also great.
I figure the classic lock him up and throw away the key. Impressive technology, though. Especially for something built in a sewer. It's because of the Guardians Massacre that I want you on this mission. The planet needs a win right now, and this is it. We don't know much about them, but we know they live underground and keep to themselves. You shouldn't have any trouble, just keep an eye out.
He's a very calculated and cold person, but he's also highly intelligent and rational. I really appreciate that he puts the safety of the world at the very top of his priorities at all times, and every decision he makes reinforces that principle of his.
Victory? No. Do you know how many people died here yesterday? 338. 338.
How could you know and not tell me?
I couldn't risk Nolan finding out we knew. Not until we figured out what he was doing and how to stop him.
But I need to help them.
Do not do that. Get to Guardians HQ.
What? Cecil!
Listen to me and do what I say.
Call it off! Mark's in there!
I can't do that, Debbie.
Why not?
Because I can't. Nolan killed the Guardians. He killed Donald. He shrugged off everything I've thrown at him, and now I don't know if Mark is with his father or against him. So I can't call off the one thing that might stop them both.
This is why I have always hated you.
That's why I hate me too.
Again, his voice, man. It's so good. It gives him a strong presence in every scene he's in. It's pretty cool. I also like his teleportation gimmick, and that final conversation with Nolan is just very good. His dialogue is pretty well written, and coupled with his amazing voice, it just works.
From one giant shit show to another. Give me some good news, Donald. I'm a good liar. I'm a very good liar. But you're better. You fooled her. Hell, you fooled all of us for what? 20 years? Wait. Does Mark know that his dad's a murderer?
From the beginning, he knew that Nolan killed the Guardians. And if you watch the show again, you can clearly tell that he did. And this makes rewatching all of his scenes with that knowledge even cooler, I think. This doesn't give him any extra points in terms of character, but I still think it's cool. And although he's not super deep or complex, he's for sure one of my personal favorites. A tier. Robot. The early Robot I like quite a bit. He delivers some very humorous lines at points, and his calm, factual, and of course robotic behavior works very well with the rest of the Guardians.
Eve, 2.5 seconds after this sentence, 3 enemy tanks will align 50 degrees to your right.
I got it.
Rex, civilians in danger to your left.
Yeah, I got eyes too, Rob. I love you, man, but sometimes you've got a screw loose.
I don't use screws. My fastenings are all magnetic interlocks.
I also like his design. The strong orange and the green eyes. It's very eye-catching for sure. And he was very mysterious in the first episodes. You didn't really know what he was up to, and that ambiguous factor was super awesome to me. Because you knew that he was a good guy, and that he was concerned with helping people, but on the other side, he freed the Mauler twins from prison. So I personally was extremely curious what he was up to. I would have loved it if they kept the reveal of his plan and his real self for the next season. The resolution to his plotline came a bit too fast for my liking. It seems like his character doesn't have a lot of room to grow from here. Plus, I think the final reveal would have been much more resonant if we got to know Robert a bit more for a longer period of time. Yeah, Robert's awesome. B tier. So we now get to Rudolph Rudy Connors, which is the new version of Robot. And as soon as Robot became this dude, I pretty much tapped out. I really don't like the real version of Robot. I think the story of how he becomes this new version of himself is pretty good actually. The entire cloning thing is a very nice idea. It's just a shame that it was a little rushed, at least to me. However, what I do not like at all is the physical appearance of Rudolph. He looks so stupid, and his voice also doesn't fit his background at all.
The cryptographic key is the entire text of Frankenstein.
Look who has a sense of humor after all.
And now that our deal is complete, it's time you both return to prison.
I can't quite put my finger on the reason why I cannot stand him, but he's just off. I'm basically of the same opinion as Monster Girl and all the other Guardians. It was incredibly naive for him to think that they would easily be super supportive of what he did. And I just missed the old Robot. He made a great addition to the team, both in terms of appearance and diversity of characters. And now we have this weird 11-year-old toddler. I really don't like that at all, I'm sorry. D tier. Fuck that guy. Rex. Rex is the funniest character in the whole show. He's super chaotic and always a bit aggressive. I think his kinda goofy and not that badass design also fits very well with his entire attitude and role within the group. He's a huge edgelord, cursing all the time and either being angry or jokey. I especially like him when he's very angry around other people, because he acts so extraordinary in many scenes.
But I think I speak for everyone here when I say I never want it to happen ever again! Where are you guys coming from?
We go to the same high school, Rex.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah, we do.
Must be nice. You know who never got to go to high school? Me.
We know. It shows.
Right back at you, buddy. Oh no, that's fine. We'll handle the cleanup. Asshole!
He seems to be in his own little world for 80% of the time. It's just fun seeing him around all these other characters acting like a complete nuthead. His abilities are kind of whatever, they're not all that special or interesting, except for the fireworks that he can create, which are pretty neat. Not much else to say here, we're gonna put him in B tier. So, we get to Duplicate, and I really don't have much to say about her at all. She seems very likable and nice most times.
Where is Kate Prime?
Had a thing. I can fill her in. That's actually super offensive. So, wait, you think you should be in charge?
Although there's also that thing with Rex, which was just a total dick move, pun intended. Seriously, I don't get why she would go through with that. That said, we really don't know a whole lot about her character, so who knows, maybe she would be okay doing something like this? I mean, she apparently is, so... The coolest thing about her is how seamless she can create duplicates of herself. She's very fun to watch in many of these fight scenes. Her design is alright, certainly not bland or uninspired, but also not particularly amazing. I value personality and depth much more than just visual appeal and such, so she only gets a C tier rating, simply because, other than her cool powers, there's not much else. So we get to Monster Girl. Monster Girl is pretty cool. I think the concept of her power is very interesting and unique. She's kinda like a kid version of the Hulk, with some minor differences. The biggest one being that she can control when to transform, and while she's transformed, she's also completely level-headed and can talk and think normally.
Still think I'm adorable? Oh, now that's adorable.
Aside from that, there is not that much of stuff to talk about. Her design is pretty bland, both her normal look and her monster look, but the contrast between the two is what makes it work very well. Like I said, I really don't enjoy her weird relationship thing with Rudolph, but that's mainly his fault and not hers. I can imagine that she's most likely at the top of the Guardians in terms of power level. She wasn't super game-changing in that one fight in episode 5, but that's because that lion beast creature was just way too powerful for all of them.
Whenever I transform, I get younger. It's part of the curse that gives me my powers. I don't look it, but I'm 24 years old.
Monster Girl will most likely have to drop her superhero role at some point, because if she just continues transforming herself again and again, she'll eventually end up a toddler, and then just like a baby, and then an infant, and then she'll just like disappear or something. That would actually be pretty funny, but also kind of fucked up. We'll see what they do with her. Maybe they'll invent some bullshit cure for her ability or whatever. That would be pretty lame. Who knows? If we get to know her more in the next seasons, then I will gladly put her in B tier. But I think C tier is good for now. Shrinking Ray. She's kinda whatever, honestly. I don't have any strong opinions on her. Her design is fine. Her ability is probably the coolest part. But besides that, she gets the least amount of development, interactions, and screen time from all of the Guardians. And from the few lines of dialogue we get from her, I didn't get any unique impressions or anything. Just that she likes working out, I guess?
Call me when you figure it out. I'll be in the gym.
Yeah, C tier. I'd almost put her in D tier, but just because she's so bland. Still, I think she's fine. I don't think she's as bad as Rudolph, who I actually have a problem with. So yeah. Next we have Black Samson. I really like this guy. He has much more experience than the rest of the new Guardians, because he was a formal member of the original Guardians of the Globe. And you can tell, the things he says regarding teamwork and certain principles that a hero should have, I find pretty cool.
Dude, what the hell?
24 civilians are in the hospital right now, because we fought like 6 individual assholes instead of a team.
He strikes me as a very virtuous and strong-willed person that follows his own principles and doesn't deviate from his path. At first, he thinks of all the new members as immature and naive.
I don't know you yet, so I'm gonna assume that was a joke and I don't need to beat your ass until all you want to do is call me Dad again.
So, whatever. You don't even have powers, old man.
Say that one more time, son.
But as they spend more time together as a team, he grows to like all of them.
Now we look like a team.
I'd love to be friends with this guy. His power is not really explored, because he only gets them back after that big fight in episode 5, but his design is pretty cool. Gold just fits super well with black skin for some reason. It looks great. B tier for Black Samson. Damien Darkblood. He is so freaking cool. Every scene that's dedicated to him is just awesome. He's so different from the rest of the characters. And the fact that he's a demon detective from hell? Come on, that's just a dope concept. And he's very mysterious too. He appears and disappears whenever he wants to, and doesn't speak normally, which makes him and his aura even more unique.
You're the demon, after all. And demons know evil when they see it.
That night, the massacre. Still not clear to me.
7 dead, 1 alive. Your husband.
Did. Answers were unsatisfactory.
I really appreciate all the different characteristics and elements they put in this character. From his motivation of seeking redemption for his soul by solving mysteries for the human worlds.
Why do you care?
Escape from hell. Seek justice for others to save own soul.
To the cold atmosphere he creates around him. It's very well done. I would have loved a subplot of him trying to figure out this case to the end. Like sort of a mini detective arc. That would have been great. I'm very glad that he's part of this season. His scenes are all great. Like I said, he's a dope character. A tier character. He's not nearly as developed as someone like Adam E, for example, but what we are given of him is enough to see how cool of a character he is. Art Rosenbaum? Not much to say about him. He's the best buddy of Nolan, and he makes the suits for all the superheroes. He seems to be a nice guy, but the main thing that makes him work is that one scene where he hangs out with Nolan on the roof, and they drink some beers.
Never piss off your tailor.
What's the matter, Art? You seem a little nervous.
No, just tired. Lots of repairs this week.
That's a pretty good scene. And also the one with Debbie in the final episode, I like quite a bit.
I wish he'd come back.
Me too.
But aside from his relationship to the Graysons, There's like almost nothing to say. And even that connection isn't fleshed out that extremely well. It's still fine, but I'll put him in C tier. Alan the Alien. Aw, this guy is so wholesome. He only has 2 scenes dedicated to him, but he comes off as the nicest guy ever in both of them.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Your planet signed up for the program. See? Request from Urath for evaluation.
Urath? This is Earth!
Can't imagine what you're going through. Literally. Like, I have no concept of it. With my homeworld gone, my people had to create breeding camps just to stop us from going extinct. I've never even met my father.
I also love Cyclops, so I really like his look. Alan is just a great guy. I'd love to hang out with him sometime. He's pretty great. A tier, easy. I know we know almost nothing about him, but this is just my personal bias slipping in, cause he's just such an awesome guy. So this is the exact order in which I would rank the characters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't include any of the original Guardians of the Globe, or any other characters that I just found to be very, like, flimsy and there was just no information on them. Yeah, that's the characters I chose to review and rank, and the other ones I just didn't really care about. Yeah.